So you ever notice guys who meet a girl, even when things are kinda okay, you know? They get along, no big arguments, there's some physical attraction, she's into them, but they sorta hit this plateau. Like they never feel she's taking it to that next level, where she's actively pursuing them. You can tell when a girl's really into you versus just settling, right? So how do you shift from her kinda liking you to her really being into you? It boils down to this. How do you make her think about you nonstop? Guys, you gotta get this. It all kicks off with the idea that a woman should be thinking about you even when you're not around. The more she's wrapped up in thoughts about you, the more she slowly falls for you. The catch is most nice guys miss this point. They don't realize that some of the things they do make her think less about them. You gotta be aware of this. I touched on it in another video about abundance, where having options makes you naturally do these things. That's why women often chase guys other women are with. These guys naturally do the stuff we're about to discuss, making her think about them. But if you're not in that spot with a bunch of women right now, and you're not doing these things naturally, you gotta be mindful. Otherwise, a woman who is kinda into you might lose interest real quick. Okay, let's break down some key things to keep in mind. First off, you can't come across as a sure thing. What I mean by that is when you're chilling with a woman, and it's going well and both of you sense it. When she heads home, if she's completely sure everything went well and you're totally into her, there's not much for her to look forward to or worry about. You never want to be so upfront that she's got you all figured out. Let me share a little example from my own experience. After a date with my girlfriend, I'd be like, had a good time. See you soon. Now I didn't do it on purpose, but she later told me it drove her crazy. Most guys are busy planning the next date or asking when they can see you again. But I just say see you soon. And she'd be left wondering, what does that mean? Did he have fun? Am I going to see him again? Not knowing makes her think about you nonstop, you know? Because suddenly you're not a sure thing anymore. Nice guys tend to give off this vibe of being a sure thing because they're too quick to jump into the future. Like they meet someone and suddenly it's, hey, I've got a wedding in 3 months. Want to be my date? Now she's thinking, he's already planning 3 months ahead? So anything you can do to steer clear of being a sure thing is definitely going to work in your favor. Now let's dive into the next aspect of making a woman think about you nonstop. Being less predictable. There are a bunch of ways to keep things less predictable. Now most guys usually think of the obvious ones, like taking longer to respond to her texts. That's an example, right? So I was chatting with a buddy recently and he was in the early phases of dating this girl. Every night, without fail, he'd shoot her a good night text. You know? The whole good night, hope your day went well routine. But that becomes too predictable and predictability gives her nothing to mull over. I told him, the simplest move in that situation is to occasionally skip sending that goodnight text. Now she's left wondering why that text didn't pop up. The key is always thinking about the expectations she has and figuring out how. Not all the time, but occasionally you can throw a curveball and break those expectations. Because when you throw a curveball, when you break an expectation, suddenly you create a moment of uncertainty, a bit of confusion. That's when a woman starts thinking about you, you know? If she's used to getting that goodnight text, she can hit the hey, and her mind drifts off to whatever else is on her plate for the night. But if that text doesn't come, all of a sudden she's left wondering, where is he tonight? Who's he with? And you know how it goes, our imagination runs wild. Before you know it, she's on Facebook checking to see if you've checked in anywhere, slowly convincing herself, I must really like this guy if I'm giving him this much attention. So here's the deal, being predictable, that's a big no-no. It's the most crucial out of all these points. You want to keep things a bit off balance, so she knows she still has to put in some effort to attract you. If you're always hitting her up with the good morning or good night texts, ease up a bit. Mix it up, you know? See if she starts doing the same. And hey, don't be too quick to respond to her texts, make her wait a bit. Let her get a bit excited when she sees your name pop up on her phone. Keep things interesting and not too laid out. Now let's talk about another way to make her keep thinking about you. Be a three-dimensional man. Here's the deal. When a woman first meets you, she kind of pieces together this image of who you are, right? Maybe you're a software engineer, roll with a particular group of friends, and she slots you into this mental category. You become the nice software engineer who hangs with these people, and that's her picture of you. Now when that image gets confirmed again and again, it doesn't exactly lose its sparkle, but it kind of starts being taken for granted. So every now and then you gotta spice it up. Figure out how to introduce something that turns you from this one-dimensional cardboard cutout into a multi-dimensional dude. Take my buddy Mike for instance, super spiritual guy. But here's the thing, if a woman pegs you as the spiritual guy, that's the pigeonhole you're in. So throw in a contradiction. Maybe you're also ruthless in business. Suddenly, you're not this flat character anymore. Think about it. The most captivating characters have multiple dimensions. Think Han Solo in Star Wars. Most people dig him because he's a bit good, a bit bad. You're invested in him. That's what a lot of guys need to do with their personalities. Focus on how someone might pigeonhole you and find ways to break out of that box. Okay, let's hit number 4. Dial back on the nice guy behavior. Now I'm always talking about how being too nice can be a buzzkill. Nice guys, they're just too predictable and agreeable. They avoid confrontation like the plague. Now here's the twist. Drama is something women kind of thrive on. We all say women love drama, and to some extent, yeah, they do. The thing is, the more of a nice guy you are, the less drama you're serving up. And if a woman doesn't have any drama around you, she's not going to be thinking about you. She needs a bit of that drama to keep her mind hooked. Now sometimes drama happens naturally. Some guys just naturally stir the pot, because let's face it, they might not have their stuff together. They're canceling plans, messing up here and there. Even though she might complain about it, that drama is actually fueling her thoughts about that guy more. It's a weird dance, but sometimes a bit of drama ain't all that bad. Nice guys, they usually have their stuff together, you know? In most cases. Not always, but they tend to be pretty grounded. Now the catch with being all grounded and having your act together is you might not be throwing in that drama that women kinda crave. So you gotta be aware and ask yourself, is there any drama here? Cause if there's absolutely zero drama, she might be thinking, this lacks passion. So you want to figure out how to inject a bit of drama by maybe being a tad less of a goody two-shoes. Keep it interesting, you know? Now let's talk about the 5th point, the whole idea of mystery. The more mystery you throw in, the more she's going to be thinking about you. We touched on this before, probably in one of my other videos. Imagine this scenario. She's scrolling through your Facebook page and she comes across 3 different posts. First, there's a pic of you with your arm around a girl. Next, there's one of you out with a bunch of friends. Lastly, there's a post with a beer and a martini glass captioned, "Cheers to a good night with good company." Now, which one do you think is going to make her think the most about you? It's the 3rd one, the beer and the martini glass. Why? Because it's mysterious, it's fake. She's left wondering, who is he with? She knows it's probably not a dude sipping an apple martini. It's that intrigue. Now her mind's running wild. There's a mystery, and mystery is what keeps you on her mind nonstop. A lot of guys, when they're really into a girl, they get all hesitant to pull these moves, you know? They're like, I want her to know I'm interested. I don't want to be too unpredictable, cause if I don't hit her back with a text, she might think I'm not into her, and then she's texting the other guy she's chatting with on Tinder. It's that constant balancing act, right? So the deal is, be mysterious. Let her wonder what's going on with you. Don't flood Instagram or Facebook with every little detail of your day, what you're eating, who you're grabbing dinner with, or where you're chilling for happy hour. Post less, keep them guessing. Now part of being mysterious means doing the disappearing act, not for too long. Just enough to get her pondering about what's up with you. Here's the move. If it takes you a whole day to hit her back after that morning text, and then come evening, you finally respond saying, I had a crazy busy day. Hope yours was awesome. Gonna crash now. Long day tomorrow. Talk to you soon. This message sends the signal, she's not your top priority. And women dig that. It shows you've got a life you love, and that brings in a vibe of stability. Don't just pull this move once, do it a couple of times. Some dating coaches might throw out crazy advice like going off the grid for 3, 4, or even 5 days. But let's be real, if she's attractive and has her options, that move ain't gonna turn her on. It just seems shady, you know? You gotta pop in and out, but on your terms. Because hey, you're the busy one. Keep this vibe going for about 3 days. When you finally jump back into the conversation, she's gonna be wondering, what's he really up to? She might be thinking, does he have another girl? What's he doing that's so captivating he's not giving me the time of day? This stands out from what a lot of other guys are pulling right now. It's all about keeping her guessing, making things a bit more intriguing. Just a quick reminder, you gotta throw in some unpredictability during this period. It amps up her attraction toward you. I mean, most of the time, this girl might hit you with the classic, when am I gonna see you again? When you finally reach back out to her. And that right there is exactly where you want her to be. Keep it interesting, keep her wanting more, you know? So here's another move tied to the whole mystery vibe, making plans after a busy spell. When you get back to chatting with her, drop the casual info that work's been keeping you occupied. But when you dive into the conversation, shift the focus to what she's been up to, not always about you. Don't spill all the details, keep it a bit mysterious. Now when it comes to making plans, don't jump in right away. Let some time pass. Why? Cause that time gap is going to amp up her excitement to see you again. It's like a crucial part of the attraction phase. Hit her with something like, "Hey, I'm tied up the next 2 days but got some free time Friday night. How about grabbing a drink around 7 o'clock? Keep it laid back, keep her intrigued. So you don't want to end up being just another text buddy. Keep those text messages straightforward, to the point, and often with a closing, you know? Don't be too available. Give her some space to miss you, and make her want to catch up again. This is how you really stand out in her thoughts. Now if she's not reciprocating any of this, that might be the sign she's not as interested. It's all about finding that balance and seeing where it goes from there. So there you have it. If you find value, like and subscribe for more.